these people that support Devin, they don't support Devin for no superficial reason. They support Devin because they recognize what he's doing in the sport of boxing is good for the sport. And Devin should really be looked up to by other fighters who want to have as much success as Devin while not being tied to crazy slave deals with promoters. Devin is blazing a path. Devin is blazing a path that any fighter should admire and look to, right? I mean, look at what Bud is doing. Bud Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, other fighters who are now hesitant to sign with promoters, or even when they do sign with promoters, they ensure they can get out of the deal just as much as the promoter can end the deal, like Shakur did. Shakur signed with Eddie Hearn and made sure that there was a clause in there that would give him the capability of ending the relationship, ending the contract with Eddie Hearn. This should catch on like wildfire. What Devin is doing right now, blazing this trail in the sport, not just in the ring, but outside of the ring, doing business, creating an avenue towards people, financiers like Turkey Al-Sheikh. Look, we can get you the money you need. We ain't got to haggle. We ain't got to worry about the little bullshit most of these fighters who have promoters gouging them have to worry about. We just got to worry about meeting in the ring. You get your money, I get my money. That is an amazing way to do it. And because Devin is the one doing it, and because Bill Haney is, the genius, right? One of the geniuses behind Devin Haney. Devin Haney himself is also a genius. They don't like Bill, they don't like Devin, because their favorite fighter on some bullshit, right? And so they have to paint this picture that Devin and Bill, whatever picture they paint, the lies, the bullshit, the manipulation. And here is the latest campaign. The very latest campaign of the David Haney hate. Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin. This was the campaign that sunk their ship. This campaign sunk their battleship, y'all. Why is that? Well, what did they tell you about Brian Norman Jr.? They sold you a dream about Brian Norman Jr. They told you he had skill. They told you he had footwork. They told you he had a jab that could rival Devin's. They told you that. And what did y'all do? Instead of researching, looking into it, instead of looking at the fights, because let's face it, many of y'all did not watch Brian Norman Jr. fight anybody before Devin. You might have seen some highlight reels versus Santillion versus Cuevas. You might have seen some highlight reels. You probably didn't really look at why there was a no contest between Brian Norman Jr. and Boca Chica. Did you look at why he couldn't stop Quentin Randall? No, you guys didn't look at that. And what was the latest showing from a Brian Norman Jr.? It was Jen Sasaki, right? Jen Sasaki really exposed what we knew would happen when Devin faced him. And soon after that fight was announced between Devin and Jen Sasaki, I think it was actually before that. I think it was before they even signed to fight each other, Devin and Brian Norman Jr. I did a little bit of a breakdown of the Jen Sasaki versus Brian Norman fight. I showed you. And only focused on one half of that fight in terms of analyzing and breaking down Brian Norman's strengths and weaknesses. And what I was able to point out and show you at the same time while getting my channel demonetized was that Brian Norman Jr. didn't have much. Didn't have many strengths at all. I showed you quite a few weaknesses. I showed you had a problem with range. I showed you had a problem with punch placement. What up, Jeffrey? Salute to you. I showed you had a problem with with his gas tank. I showed you that. I showed you why Jin Sasaki set himself up to get knocked out. I think that's even within the title of the live stream I did. I showed y'all that. While him fighting Devin was being entertained, and that is when people picked up. They hitched themselves to Brian Norman Jr.'s wagon after he knocked out Jin Sasaki, and the fight with Devin was being entertained. That's what people, oh, Brian Norman Jr., oh, he's going to do this, that, and the third to Devin. Okay. Nothing in that fight against Jin Sasaki, his latest fight, where you're fighting to defend your belt, and you show that you lack so many fundamentals in the sport of boxing that I was able to display for you guys and point out. Just by watching it, right? Just by doing what I was doing. And it's like, okay, this is his late 28 fights. Salute to Convos with Cam in the building. Salute to my beautiful sister, Queen sister. Salute to the beautiful Queen sister Cameron. Brian Norman Jr., well, that was his last fight. He was a champion, right? He had gotten, he was an email champion, right? He fought for the vacant belt against Cuevas, or was it Cuevas or Santillan? I think it was Cuevas. Knocked Cuevas out with a jab, right? So impressive. And I was like, well, when I watched that fight, I said, what the hell are we doing here? Jin Sasaki knocked himself out. Thank you, Convos with Cam. Yes, hit the like button. Jin Sasaki knocked himself out. And I showed you how, and I showed you why. What else? What else did I show you? Yes, DJ Shredder. Easy come, easy go. But see, a lot of people place a lot of faith in Brian Norman Jr. because of the manipulators, the liars, and the bullshitters in the boxing talk space that pimped y'all into betting on Brian Norman Jr., and now you done lost some money. And now you're crashing out all over the place. You're crashing out on Champ's side, yelling and screaming and hooping and hollering at him because you lost some fucking money. Why? Because you listened. You listened to grade A bullshitters like Knockoff Pity Pat, like Fannin, like, Knockoff Pity Pat, KO, who ain't never KO'd nothing. Y'all listen to those motherfuckers. Yeah, you listen to them, and then they convinced you that Brian Norman Jr. was Devin's kryptonite. That's what we heard, right? Oh, he's gonna catch him with the left hook. What did they tell you? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they told you Brian Norman Jr. was the one. But all you had to do was watch his fight against Jin Sasaki. His 28th fight at one weight class, I believe. I don't know how many fights he had at welterweight. I think most of his career was spent at 147. 28 fights. And you still don't know how to judge distance. You still don't have any footwork to speak of at all whatsoever. You're still gassing out in the first round. That's what he was doing. He blew his load in the first round. And when Jin Sasaki stood in front of him with a good support base, right? And Brian Norman Jr. landed big shots. What did Jin Sasaki do? He gobbled them motherfuckers up, right? It was only when Jin Sasaki was out of position and the center of gravity was not supported that he got knocked down and knocked out. Brian Norman Jr. needs you to be ass to knock you out. Salute to Romania. I appreciate you. Yeah, Brian talked a good game too. I mean, sure. Right? He pulled the TI out of him. He pulled the TI out of him and just, oh yeah, he sold y'all a dream too. Brian Norman Jr. helped. Absolutely. And Brian Norman Sr. did his whole little circuit. Yeah, talked all that shit. They convinced you that Brian Norman Jr. was the goods. But all you had to do was watch his fights. All you had to do was look at his resume, which Champ's side and BFTB broke down for y'all. And you were still convinced that he could do something to Devin Haney. Now, what did they convince you? Brian Norman Jr. had skill. Brian Norman Jr. had footwork, and he had power. Well, power is when you hit somebody and it hurts very badly when they're in position. Not when they're out of position and off balance. Not when their rear foot is all the way off the ground. Not when they're throwing a jab to the body and coming up with their chin up, hands down, and their foot dragging behind them, and their center of gravity not even supported. Well, Jen Sasaki, there's no excuse for Jen Sasaki's horrible boxing. Jen Sasaki was ass too. What did I do in the second breakdown of that fight on Saturday when I broke down Jose Ramirez versus Devin and Brian Norman Jr. versus Jen Sasaki? I showed you Brian Norman Jr.'s horrible footwork. I showed you Jen Sasaki's horrible footwork. I showed you how Brian Norman Jr. threw these big right hands and brought his rear leg all the way forward before even landing the shot. How is that going to be effective? So now you throw your big right hand, you bring your whole rear leg be in front of your front leg, and now you're out of position, but you're supposed to hurt somebody with that? Crossing his feet, getting trapped in the corner, and when he tries to get out of the corner, he's tripping over his own feet. I showed y'all that. I showed you him crossing his feet. I showed y'all bringing his feet too close together after he throws a shot. What happens when you bring your feet too close together after you throw a shot and you open yourself up to a counter and your feet are real close together? You get hit with a good counter, your ass is going down. Yes, and the new. All you had to do was watch his fight. But the people that convinced y'all that Brian Norman Jr. was dangerous to Devin, they convinced you didn't have to look at shit. They could do the work for you, right? They knew what they were talking about. Now, does it diminish Devin's capabilities? And it doesn't. Brian Norman Jr. lacking fundamentals and not having faced any true testing, that's not Devin's fault. Devin would have watched Brian Norman Jr. regardless. It's just that, well, Brian Norman Jr., he was not champion material, point blank, period. And this is what happened, right? But they convinced y'all that he was, right? Oh, he's a champion. That's what we heard. Oh, well, he's a champion. We have to put him up there because he's a champion. How did he get to be a champion? None of that matters. His experience doesn't matter. Who he's faced in his career doesn't matter. Versus who Devin's faced. Versus Devin went through the fire to get to where he's at today. At 27 years old, a few years older than Brian Norman Jr., but only 5 fights more than Brian Norman. 5 fights, that's it. Or 4 fights. 28 fights. When did Brian Norman Jr. ever show IQ? Because that's what they told y'all too, right? Oh, Brian Norman Jr., he has IQ. He has boxing IQ. It's just, he hid it somewhere. It's in his back pocket. He never had to bring it out, but he has it. Well, how the fuck you know he got it then? Because you heard he wobbled. Oh, he wobbled Terrence Crawford. He wobbled this guy. He hurt Talker Truck Davis in sparring. Where did y'all see this immaculate IQ? Y'all didn't see it anywhere. Y'all didn't see it in any fight. He didn't display any IQ at all whatsoever in any fight. But they convinced you that he did. I should have bet even more money on Haney than I already did. That's what's up. Salute to Brittany said, salute to you. Think about that. I knew when Brian Norman Jr. when they were entertaining the fight, when no one even got an offer yet, I knew that Brian Norman Jr. was going to get his ass whipped. I knew it. It was easy. That was easy. That was an easy fight to pick. Now, what they did leading up to the fight, the Normans, that didn't help, right? They weren't focused at all. They thought Devin Haney was a pillow-fisted, chinny motherfucker. Well, where did they see that? Hold on, y'all. I got to go here. I got to go to this Red Barn. I got to go get me some, I got to get some produce for tomorrow's. I got to get some produce for tomorrow. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Hold on. Just a second. Well, where's the camera thingy? I'll be right back. My bad, y'all. Had to get my my raw milk. Give me some raw milk, some cottage cheese and sour cream. Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like some good old raw milk, y'all. Ooh-wee. Yes, yes. Nothing like some good old raw milk. I guess Devin can dodge left hook, huh, haters? Oh, yeah. Looks like it. I look like Obama. Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations. I look like Obama. Anyway. So, listen. And now let's talk about Brian Norman. Let's talk about Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez and Ryan Garcia, right? Now, we all know Ryan Garcia was a racist. Well, that doesn't matter. Him being a racist doesn't matter in the fight. But we know he was a drug cheat, right? Who came in overweight, right? We know that. But that doesn't matter to a lot of people. So that people just dismiss that. And see, these are the same people that told y'all Brian Norman Jr. was dangerous to Devin. Was that, Ryan Garcia was a drug cheat who came in heavy, which Devin accepted that, right? Because you know, he accepted it. He decided to fight him anyway, but he didn't know he was on drugs. Oh, he came in heavy and was on PEDs, but he just couldn't get out of the way of the left hook. Oh, that left hook, he could. It just, he can't defend the left hook. Well, Devin, what did he do in the Jose Ramirez fight? He didn't get touched with one left hook. And if he did, it didn't do anything to him. Now, but they'll tell you, it doesn't matter that Ryan Garcia was on drugs. These are the same people that told y'all Brian Norman Jr. was dangerous. Do y'all see the pattern? Y'all see the pattern of lies and bullshit? There's a pattern here, isn't there? And it's aimed at Devin, because you don't hear this type of talk about any other fighter, right? Because there are other fights where fighters pop dirty for PEDs, but no one blamed the guy that didn't pop dirty. No, they just went after the guy. And they made Devin guilty for trying to sue Ryan, right? Oh, he sued him for fighting. That's that bullshit knockoff pity pat told you. Oh, Devin Haney sued Ryan Garcia for fighting. Oh, he sued for assault. No, he didn't. They did not sue for those things. But that's what they told you. Another lie. More lies, more manipulation that people ran with. And they told y'all, and y'all decided to believe it. Can y'all hear me now? Thank you, Queen Sister Cameron. Look, they took what Floyd Mayweather did and they made it better, right? They took, that's what happened. But nonetheless, the lies and the manipulation continues. They told y'all Devin can't get out of the way of the left hook. It doesn't matter. What all did they tell you about Ryan versus Devin? They didn't want y'all to think about, you had content creators who I thought would know better. I only care about Devin's performance. Tried to make Devin's performance against the drug cheat, make that happen in a vacuum where the drug cheat never occurred. Dismiss it. This is what these people told you. On the totem pole of why Devin lost, I put the drug cheating way down there. These are the same motherfuckers that tried to convince you that Brian Norman Jr. was Devin's kryptonite. That Brian, knockoff pity pat, told you, and I didn't watch the video, but he said that Brian Norman Jr. had better a live stream reacting to that just to see what he was saying, because I wanted to do that in real time. I didn't want to watch it until I watched it with y'all so we can watch it together and see what the fuck he had to say. Donald Morgan says, as long as Devin is independent in the sport of boxing, companies like Top Rank and other affiliated companies will continue to try to diminish. Well, they can't because of They can try, but Turkey's in play now. Turkey Al Sheikh. And so they're going to have a very hard time with that. Right? Now, I don't know what Dana White's plans are with the sport of boxing when Turkey Al Sheikh eventually passes away, right? Because he has brain cancer. We'll see. Turkey might live a full life, but nonetheless, they have Turkey now. Turkey owns the zone, the boxing side, right? And the zone partners with, that's Matchroom and Top Rank now, and probably likely in the future, the PBC. It doesn't matter what these motherfuckers think about Devin anymore. They can't blackball Devin because a guy like Turkey Al Sheikh will finance the fights. And guess what are they going to do? Turkey has put himself in a position to allow great fighters to make the big fights without worrying about what the fuck their promoter has to say. So, yeah, that's not going to be a concern, at least for now. But these same people that told you that Brian Norman Jr. was Devin's kryptonite. They told you that Jose Ramirez, when Devin fought Jose Ramirez, he ran all night. Promoters or investor? You need an investor? Well, promoters can't be investors, right? Or that's a conflict of interest. They can only be a promoter. They can't be a promoter and a manager and a promoter and this and a promoter and that. It's conflict of interest. Boxing has been hating on boxing from Oakland, and I'm a Devin Haney supporter because he's from Oakland. That's what's up, R. Fina. Salute to you. I'm from LA. I'm not from Oakland, but I'm from LA, so I'm from Cali originally. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to the patterns. And it's not just YouTubers like Knockoff Pity Pat, Fanon. You also got Sean Porter, Tim McCoon Bradley. What's that fucknut's name? Antonio Tarver. Even Shane Mosley when he feels like, whenever he gets a wild hair up his ass, whenever he misses his Prozac, when he gets to take his Prozac. They try to tell you he was Sean Porter and Hagler. No. When did y'all go look at that? Not you but specifically, Donald, but the people that believed Tim Bradley. Did you go watch the fight? Did you watch Hagler fight and watch Brian Norman Jr. fight to see if they had any similar style? Because Brian Norman Jr. is supposed to be some puncher. And they told you Brian Norman Jr. was a boxer puncher. No, he's not a boxer puncher. Some idiot on, I was arguing with some idiot on Champ's side about that before the fight. He said Brian Norman Jr. was a boxer puncher. I said, Brian Norman Jr. is not a boxer puncher. When did Brian Norman Jr. ever demonstrate that he was a boxer puncher? Brian Norman Jr. fan was talking reckless. Now you can't find him. And if you do find them, they make excuses and they get mad and they crash out. Think about that. I said, when did Brian Norman Jr. has never said that he was a boxer puncher? When did him attacks at me? Started calling me out my name because he couldn't answer the question. This is what they do. Just like for weeks leading up to the fight, I said, because I hear people say that Brian Norman Jr. has IQ and footwork. I said, when did Brian Norman Jr. show spectacular footwork? What fight? What fight did Brian Norman Jr. demonstrate boxing IQ? I never got an answer. But they told y'all this, right? They told y'all, and y'all ran around to this channel and that channel, and y'all ran your mouths about it. And when I asked the question, you couldn't answer the question. I showed y'all that he didn't have IQ or footwork or skill. What skill? What footwork? Yeah, he might have a decent jab against somebody who doesn't know how to defend the jab. Sure. But when he tried to use that same jab against Devin, was he even close to landing a jab? No. Why? Because like I told y'all, he had a problem judging distance. Jen Sasaki was standing there right there in front of him. Body all open. He throws a body shot and hits Jen Sasaki in the elbow. For what reason? Jen Sasaki, he had the high guard. He was like this. All this all open, and you hit him in the elbow. Why? Because you have horrible punch placement. You get lucky when you land your shots. Just saying, man. It is what it is. But see, now y'all know. There's no more excuses. These people that told y'all, oh, Devin has so many answers to questions to answer. He has to answer this question. Can he do? Oh, he has PTSD. And they told you he had PTSD as well. They told, oh, he has PTSD. How the fuck you know what he got? Because he got knocked down 3 times in a fight against a drug cheat? You know, every fighter who goes into the ring, they suffer trauma, right? Because they're getting hit with punches. But this is what they signed up for. This is what they've been doing. Devin had 32 fights when he fought Ryan Garcia. Or 31. Right, 32 was Jose Ramirez. 31 fights where he got punched. He got hit by Jose Linares. He got hit by Lomachenko. When he got hit by Ryan Garcia, he just got knocked down. That was the only difference. But that's supposed to be traumatic. Yes, it's traumatic. Fighters are getting punched on. In the ring, there's going to be trauma. But PTSD? That's what they told you too. Oh, Devin, he's going to be scared. Oh, he was scared against Jose Ramirez. But what happened when you actually watched the Jose Ramirez fight? Oh, he has jittery. That Devin was right there in front of Jose. I showed you that he wasn't running. He was just using lateral movement. But 9 times out of 10, he was right there in front of Jose Ramirez, who was cutting off the ring, right? It just couldn't do it effectively enough to catch Devin up. So when Jose Ramirez would cut off the ring, catch him in the corner, catch him against the ropes, and try to go in on him, try to land combinations on him, Devin would spin out. Jose Ramirez had no answer for it, but y'all say that's running because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or they told you, the liars, the manipulators, the narrative spinners, they told you that Devin was running. Oh, that's running. Oh, he moved laterally too much. It was too much lateral movement. Why? And Devin was beating the shit out of Jose Ramirez when he chose to hit him. Effectively. Jose Ramirez never walked through any of Devin's punches. No, what fighter has ever just walked through Devin's punches? Nope, no fighter. But they'll tell you he's pillow-fisted, right? Even though the fighters that faced Devin for the first time, afterward they tell you, oh, he hit harder than I thought. The fighters will tell you, Regis Prograis will tell you. Regis Prograis told you. Jose Ramirez told you. Ryan Garcia told you that he hit him harder than Tank hit him. That Devin punched harder than Tank. What was the difference between Tank and Ryan Garcia? PEDs. And then, well, Lomachenko, he broke his ribs. Lomachenko wasn't going to tell you because he was too prideful, right? Kambosos told you Devin hits harder than y'all thought. But yet and still, y'all still run with this pillow-fisted narrative. Well, I hope y'all see it now, right? Brian Norman Jr. tried to convince you that he got hit with that Devin caught him with a flash knockdown, even though Devin hit him with a left hook 2 punches before the one that dropped him and wobbled the shit out of him. Devin saw it, hit him with another left, and hit him with a chopping right hand. Bada boom, bada bing, that was it. Dropped his ass in the second round. But they decided, oh, we're not going to run with that narrative no more. Oh, absolutely not. Like Conor Ben, he got to fight Boots. This is what they tell y'all now. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Got to get back to work before I get my little 4-day weekend. Lateral movement is not running. Yeah, it's not running. They're full of shit. They wish one Devin Haney downfall every day. Everybody they who go in the fight, they all lose to him. Yes, Brian Norman is ass and cannot beat elite. Devin is still ass, says RSF Morrow. Where were you before Devin whooped Brian Norman's ass, saying that Brian Norman Jr. was ass? Where were you at? Who said that Brian Norman Jr. was ass before he fought Devin except for me? And I waited until Saturday to tell you that Brian Norman Jr. was ass. I waited. I didn't tell you the first time. I just pointed out a lot of clear deficiencies that Brian Norman Jr. had. But when on the Saturday of, I told you Brian Norman Jr. was ass. But where were you at before saying that? I hope you don't think that means Devin's ass because Brian Norman Jr. was ass. Because Devin can make an elite fighter look like ass, just like he didn't make Lomachenko look like ass. I ain't gonna lie to you about that. Lomachenko gave him a good fight. But he made Kambosos look like ass now. But Regis is better than Brian Norman Jr., has a better record, has a better resume, has better stock, actually fought champions. But he made Regis Prograis look like an amateur. He made Jose Ramirez, who was a former unified champion, who fought for undisputed, look amateur. Made it look like a sparring match. Devin makes your favorite fighter look like ass. Devin makes good fighters look like ass, and then y'all call him ass because he's just that much better. To be the best, you got to beat the best. Exactly. Oh, yeah, he did better. Yeah, it's okay. This is what they do. So, don't get mad at me because some YouTuber or Sean Porter or Timokoon Bradley and whoever else, Sean Zytel, Antonio Tarver, all these motherfuckers convinced you that Brian Norman Jr. had a chance when they probably should have known better, and they probably did know better. They just hate Devin so much that they'll overlook Brian Norman Jr.'s glaring deficiencies. And again, that Brian Norman Jr.'s glaring deficiencies does not take away from Devin. It didn't matter what Brian Norman Jr. would have done or how much more experience he would have gotten. He still would have got his ass whooped. Lamont Roach will watch Devin. Dude, Lamont Roach will get worked by Devin Haney. Devin Haney will whoop Lamont Roach's ass. You have no idea what you're talking. See, this is the problem. Now y'all moving it. You guys are trying to find a hero. No hero, Tonka Truck Davis, is on the run. He's on the lam. Yeah, you can't use him no more. Oh, you trying to find a hero. I need a hero who can come and beat Devin tonight. And I know that he can whoop everybody's ass, but I need somebody to fight. I need a hero who can whoop on Devin today. I know suckers don't know what you're talking about. Y'all need a hero. So y'all want to pull a fighter out of their ass. Out of your ass. Oh, well, Lamont Roach now. From 130 to 130. You want Lamont Roach to come up to fight Devin and get his ass whooped. Okay. Where am I from? From Cali. Tank is goated. Tank is not goated by whom? By whom is Tank goated? Slim Hussein this is wild work. They need a hero. I cannot wait until he fights Virgil or Boots. Now you gotta pull Virgil and Boots into it. I need a hero. Maybe it's Virgil, maybe it's Boots. Why Virgil? What gives you the impression what champion has Virgil fought? What elite fighter has Virgil Ortiz fought? What elite fighter has Boots fought? You're from Phoenix? Yeah, exactly. They expect Devin to fight the best because they think they want Devin to get his ass whooped because they know Tonka Truck Davis will probably be fighting uh, uh, Shira in prison. They know Tonka Truck will probably be fighting in the yard to get an extra large Snicker. You understand what I'm talking about? Tank too busy fighting women in the club. Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of beating women and hitting women with cars that are pregnant. That's what he's the GOAT of. You from Milwaukee? Mm. I need a hero who can come up and Devin for me. Oh, somebody can somebody come fight Devin and beat his ass? Because I don't know anybody that can. Maybe you should ask Usyk to beat Devin. Let's get Usyk out here. Salute to the real Shelton in the building. No, Slim Hussein did not say that Tank is goated. Slim Hussein did not say that. Mind the man, Slim, salute to you, brother. Hey, y'all, they need a hero to come beat Devin. Can you get Usyk? I can't wait till Devin fights Usyk. I can't wait till Devin fights Moses Itama. Yeah, that'll show him. That's y'all need to go recruit heavyweights to beat Devin now. This is wild work. I need a hero because my favorite fighter about to go to prison. Why ain't you talking about Rolly? Why ain't you saying Rolly can whoop Devin's ass? Right? Ain't that who they trying to get next? Why aren't you in here saying, hey, Rolly, go whoop Devin's ass? Why are you trying to get Boots and Virgil Ortiz to do it? Hmm? Yeah, he should fight knockoff Pity Pat next. Yeah, they're about the same size. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can fight at 135. Yeah, they know Tank is out of it, y'all. Yeah. Now you trying to recruit fighters in whole other divisions to come beat up on Devin. They actual dogs, and that's what Devin can't handle. Devin can't handle actual dogs like like Regis. Someone says get a job. I have a job. I have a job. Don't even worry about that. I work. Oh, Tank ain't got no hit list. Tank hit list, he fulfilled. Guess what? He scratched off the last name on his hit list when he went into that gentleman's club and snatched up his woman. That was the last person on his actual hit list. Yeah, he about to go. Yeah. Tank's new hit list is going to have to be written on a kite. You get what I'm talking about? Yeah. Tank's next hit list is going to be on a kite that he's going to pass back and forth between sales. That's Tank's next hit list. Y'all will never see it. Y'all will never see it. It's going to be on a kite. Just so y'all know. Don't worry about his paper. You on here telling OG to get a job. Hey, man, it is what it is. Right? I have a job. I work. I just work from home and make my own hours. I can do what the fuck I want to do. It is what it is. I make my own hours and I work whenever I want. It is. I can take a 3-hour lunch as long as I get my work done and meet my deadlines. Yeah. Yeah, they need the Kraken to come fight. They need to call up goddamn Batman. Hey, Batman, they need to throw up the bat signal to come fight Devin now. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Let's not do that. Salute to you, RSF Morrow. Thank you for not being sensitive for me going in. I appreciate somebody that can actually not be so goddamn sensitive. If he fights Ryan, no, No. Devin will whoop Ryan Garcia's ass the second time around. Point blank and period. Look at the last fight. See, some people like to go look at the last five. Just look at the last fight. Look at the last fight. Judge it in multiple ways. What is the fighter doing now? Has boxing improved? Is he showing IQ? Is he showing good footwork? Has he evolved? Who is he fighting against? Check his skill set against his opponent. Is his opponent ass? Does his opponent have good footwork? Does his opponent have IQ? Look at the last fight. Ryan Garcia got his ass whooped and got out by Rolly Romero. He got to show you. Yeah, if that's what you want. Now you're throwing Ryan Garcia into it. First it was, who'd you say first? I don't know how many heroes you called on. The PEDs didn't have none to do with it. That's what you don't know what you're talking about. See, I've also done, I've done and showed you guys receipts about what the PEDs can and cannot do. I've showed you what Ostarine does and does not do. I've shown you studies. I've debunked the bullshit. The PEDs had everything to do with it. Because look what happened against Romero when he didn't have the PEDs. Look at the difference in demeanor. Look at the difference in the confidence. Look at the demeanor in his body. Look at the demeanor and how he operated throughout the fight. It definitely made a difference. But go look at my past live streams and you'll see it. I've debunked that bullshit already. I've debunked it. I've shown you studies. I've shown you what the difference was. Yeah. It is what it is, y'all. I got to go. But salute to y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Hear me out. And salute to the LDBC for keeping their integrity. Drew Titan, BFTB, 7A Sports TV. You know, the real guys out there that are actually, that have some integrity when covering the sport. Those are the ones y'all should listen to because they actually break shit down and show you why and who. Who and why. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, but salute to LDBC and Champside as well, because Champside is a brilliant boxing mind as well. Salute to the Queen's sister, Cameron. Thank you for dropping that $10 super chat on your boy. Make sure y'all drop your link, Shelton. Convos with Cam. Slim Hussein, if you got do you got a channel, Slim? I hear you. Shelton, he wasn't really no problem though. He just had a difference of opinion, Shelton. You didn't have to you didn't have to leave his message. He wasn't disrespectful. He just had a belief. And you know, it's okay if they want to believe that Ryan Garcia can whoop Dev without PEDs. It is we know different, right? But salute to the people Convos with Camp. Thank you so much for dropping that super chat on me, man. I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Queen says the Cameron is she a real one. She a real one for sure, for sure. But anyway, thank you guys. Yeah. But like I said, salute to the LDBC. They don't need me to shout them out, right? They don't. They already mostly already know who they are. But I just wanted to give them their flowers, right? Because I know they can be discouraged by all the bullshit going on because they get attacked just like Devin gets attacked in the world of boxing talk. But they still stick to it. They still maintain their integrity. So to them, like I said, Drew Titan, BFTB, 7A Sports TV, Trill Will, even though he does politics, right? Trill Will as well. Even the Queens of Boxing Talk, right? Nick J and the beautiful Nick J and the beautiful Boxiana, hell, even Queen's sister Cameron, who is a huge supporter of the LDBC and an affiliated with them, and Sugar-free Mars, of course. There are some real boxing talk people out there. And also Champ side, like I said, he's not LDBC, but he is associated with the LDBC. And so those are some real ones that y'all, if y'all want some real boxing talk, some real boxing analyzation with every fighter, not just with their favorites, and then they start hating and bullshitting about others. No, that's where you want to go. That's, it's all good. I mean, so salute to them. Shout out to them. Thank you guys for coming through. Much love. Like, share, subscribe. And let's keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. And I'll many more great fights. Devin supposedly has encouraged Shakur Stevenson to take more risks. Bill Haney wants Rolly Romero next. I think that's a great fight for Devin, particularly because it'll help him get unified, WBC belt. I think that's what Rolly has, WBC. I don't remember. That is a good unification bout, right? There is a huge rivalry. Salute to RSF Morrow. Salute to you, bro. Thank you. Salute to you for dropping that $9.99 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Salute to you. I really do appreciate you. Even though we disagreed and we were able to have a conversation and you still dropped some support on you, boy. I really appreciate that. Fredo for Life says Hitchens wants Devin. Man, fuck Hitchens. Fuck that dude, man. He's full of shit. But I would like to see that. He comes up to 147, does something at 147, puts himself in position, not just coming up immediately. No, fuck that. Go through some people first. But fuck Hitchinson. And if Hitchens take his ass up there and put himself into position to get a bout with Devin, I can see that. I can see that would be a great fight. I think Richardson Hitson is a great boxer. I think that he might put in some good work at 147. I'm not going to diminish his skill, but fuck him. He's full of shit. He's a duck. But if he goes up there and puts on some good shows and makes his way through 147, I can see that being a great fight. Maybe a year and a half, right? I want to see Devin unify or get undisputed, right? They would have to maneuver Hitchison in a way. I think, what does he got? Does he have a belt? I forgot if Hitchison has a belt. I don't think he does. He fought. I know he fought Kambosos. That wasn't for a title, was it? I forgot. Y'all need to go. That's why y'all need to check out the LDBC, because they know all these. Like, I know boxing, but I don't keep. It's hard for me to keep up with all the little. Okay, so he has the IBF at 140. Okay. I figured it was the IBF. I just wasn't sure. Okay, so if he moves up, maybe he moves up and he can challenge the IBF champ at 147, which is who? You got Rolly, Devin, Barrios, and Crocker. Yeah, Crocker has IBF. Listen, I need, when it comes to all them belt holders and rankings and all that, I'm more of a in the ring, I'm really good at breaking down fights and all that good stuff. I practice boxing myself. I have more practical knowledge of boxing than like academic knowledge of boxing, right? Even with all the belts, right? Because in my mind, there's really only one champion at any weight class, and that is the undisputed champion, right? I think that the belt holders are just that. They're belt holders or title holders. And I adopted that philosophy from my brother, the uncle Stormy B Man. So, and I think it's a good position to have, because if you keep it that way, like, okay, you're not a champion, you're a belt holder, and you help them understand that, yeah, you got a belt. Okay, you hold a title, but you got 3 other title holders and a lineal champion at the weight class. I mean, what are you going to do about that, right? It gives them something more to fight for, instead of just, I'm a title, like Tonka truck dumbass. holding the same title for years and years and only having one mandatory fight and not trying to unify. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the hitting that like button. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, we'll see what Devin does next. Hopefully Rolly Romero accepts I like that fight. I like that fight. I think that's a good matchup, especially now that it seems like Rolly is trying to focus more on boxing capability. I think, and he has the retard strength and the retard power. No offense to the retards. I think that would be a great matchup. Anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom, truth, and some great goddamn boxing.